We begin with the Kenya Copyright Board is destroying a haul of pirated books worth over 10 million shillings. Our reporter Tim Otieno is there and is joining us now to tell us the implications of this development. Tim, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sophia. We are at Kamongo Waste Paper Limited, where, of course, actually it's a contingency of 50,000, if I could call it illicit or illegal or copyrighted books that will be recycled here, courtesy of the Kenya Copyright Board. Now, the copies, of course, have been destroyed following the completion and conclusion of a court case that pitted the board against two individuals who were nabbed about 3 years ago. But to explain further on the developments of this particular story, I am now joined by the Executive Director at the Copyright Board of Kenya, Mr. Edward Sigei. Thank you so much for talking to KTN News. Perhaps you could begin by the impact of today's activities in regards to fighting piracy in the country. What's the impact?
Yes, thank you very much for having me on this program. The impact is that we have taken 50,000 copies of books that was going to the market, valued at over 15 million of circulation. The reason we are doing this is really to send a message that the book publishing industry is suffering, and we need the support of the public to understand that whoever has invested time, money, and effort, and on whom copyright has been invested, must be protected as required by the Constitution of Kenya, so that they benefit from their creativity. And that's why we are here to make a statement that we will not tolerate the business of illicit trade in books that is continuing to affect the industry and our education system.
Most of the 50,000 books that were nabbed were mostly set books and educational material. So perhaps as a parent, how then do I distinguish between a book that is original and one that is pirated?
Recently, the Kenya Publishers Association started a process of sending out the books with a check tag, which is something that you scratch, and there is a number to which you will send the code that will validate for you, or really invalidate, because that is another thing that is possibility from that, the book for you. So as a parent, in addition to really telling the parents that they need to go and buy from a bookshop on the main street and avoid those people who are selling to them on the streets, you also are telling them that even when you do buy from those mainstream bookshops, they ought to make sure that they scratch that check tag and send the number, the code that they find there to verify those books. Because the impact, more of those books are scanned. They are poorly scanned, they are for all editions. The impact on a student who is sitting for exam cannot really be overemphasized. So we are telling parents that they need to buy genuine books from genuine dealers, and the principals and the school administrators, they need to do the same, because it will affect the results or really impact negatively on the education system.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sigei, for speaking to KTN News. But of course, those people most affected by this trade, illicit trade, are of course the authors. And we were able to find one individual who decided to bear witness to this monumental day. He is an author and is going to be introducing himself. Thank you so much for talking to KTN News. Perhaps begin by telling us your name. I believe you are an author. And for you, what does this mean?
Okay, my name is Dipo Sidang. I'm a poet and author of Parliament of Owls poetry book that was published last year. And first, I'm honored to be invited here. And I would also want to say that we as authors, writers, poets, playwrights, we feel very saddened usually when we come across our works pirated by individuals out there or firms. And this is because we believe that intellectual property is a right that must be protected and is actually protected in the Copyright Act and also in the Constitution. And I'm happy that I was part of this process of authors coming together to fight against book piracy. Myself, together with Kinyanjui Kombani, we paid a visit to Kenya Copyright Board, and we ensured that authors came out and acquired some level of consciousness to fight piracy of books.
All right. There has been issues, especially among the authors, that the punishment for such crimes is usually very lenient according to the law. In fact, the two individuals who are found selling these 50,000 copies have only been slapped with 200,000 shillings in fine. Any comments in regards to the repercussions when one is found, of course, pirate?
See, logically, it does make sense if someone is found to have pirated books worth 50 million and is charged at most 400,000, because that is what the Copyright Act states, that the fine is capped at 400,000. And that is not fair, because there ought to be some level of proportionality in terms of the fines. I think the severity of the crime should attract an equal level of severity in terms of the charges. Even if possible, it should be even doubled, because these are people who are undermining the effort, mental energy, the creativity of authors and poets and writers.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to KTN News. Indeed, the issue of the penalties that are attached towards such crimes still remains an issue among many of the authors. Indeed, according to the Copyrights Act of 2001, if one is found to either sell or distribute material that is, of course, copyrighted, the fine is just about 400,000, an amount not exceeding 400,000, or a prison sentence not exceeding 6 years. Now, one, if is found to either import or duplicate such material, the fine does not exceed 800,000 shillings, or a prison sentence not exceeding 10,000 shillings. So the executive director of the Kenya Copyrights Board was indeed telling us that they are working on lobbying towards a legislation that will amend that particular act to put in stiffer penalties for those found to have conducted such crimes. So, Sophia, on this end, I'm going to be handing over to my colleague Patrick Amimo, who is at the Wiper headquarters, following on the issues of Kalonzo Musyoka's fate in NASA. Patrick, over to you.
Movement's party head office, where the party leader, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, has just checked in to receive at least a delegation from Meru County that has expressed interest to join the Wiper Party. I've talked to members, some of the members of the delegation, who say that they are formerly members, they formerly belong to ODM, and now they have expressed interest at least to contest these coming polls through the Wiper Democratic Party ticket. And on board is at least a candidate for the governor position. We have at least 4 candidates for members of parliament and 35 MCA aspirants. Those are the people that Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka will be meeting this afternoon to deliberate on their action to move to the party.
All right, Patrick Amimo, many thanks. Before I let you go, do you expect there to be talk about these rumors? And we've had speculation that Kalonzo may just be jumping ship if things don't go his way in NASA.
That is a matter that is haunting the Wiper Democratic Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. There's been talk about him maybe crossing over to Jubilee. It's something that the Secretary General has come of the party, that is Hassan Omar, has come out and said that Kalonzo is firmly in NASA. We've also seen yesterday the ODM party leader Raila Odinga indicate that Kalonzo is in NASA, firmly in NASA, and that is the Jubilee politicians who are trying to divide NASA. But that question we expect to put it to the party leader himself, Kalonzo Musyoka, because he's here at this venue, and we'll expect him to clear the airs on this particular aspect, because not only the matter of joining Jubilee has been on the cards. There's also talk about many money moving around, and we'll need him to clarify these issues, because it is also tainting his image with regard to the NASA coalition politics.
Okay, many thanks, Patrick. Amimo live for us. We'll be going back to the Wiper headquarters as soon as the Wiper leader begins to address the press. But staying with Wiper politics, and Wiper Party rebels from Ukambani are backing the exit of Kalonzo from the National Super Alliance, saying he will be betrayed. MPs Kisoi Munyao of Mboni, Etwiku Mbai of Masinga, and Regina Ndambuki of Kilome insist that Kalonzo has no reason to stay in NASA if he feels that he will be shortchanged. The lawmakers were speaking in Masinga constituency as they campaigned for the Jubilee Party. NASA Principal Raila Odinga yesterday dispelled claims that Kalonzo was on his way out of the coalition, a day after National Assembly Minority Leader Francis Nyenze hinted that Kalonzo will quit NASA if he is not named flag bearer.
Kama huko kumewaka moto, wacha watoke wakuja hapa tuungane na tuunge mkono serikali tuendelee na kusaidia watu wetu. Kwa hivyo mimi nimekaa kidende katika serikali kwa sababu serikali inanipa maendeleo ya kuletea watu wangu. Bado nataka kudhibitisha dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. Muigai Uhuru Kenyatta atachukua hii serikali mwezi wa 8. Hapo kutoshei huko. Sisi jamii ya Wakamba tumeteswa, tumedhulumiwa, tumedharauliwa na wale wanaume ambao wako upande huo wanaitwa sijui NASA ama Nikora. Na tunatangaza wazi wazi, sisi hatuko tayari kukaa kwa upinzani tena. Nawaambia kitu moja, huyu mzee tulipigia kura akiwa kwa court. Kila wakati akiambikania kitu na watu, wakati ukifika ana change. Aliambikania na Kalonzo hapo KTN, akasema miaka 5 nipite nisipite nitakuondokea kiti. Wakati miaka imekwisha, akaona sasa ataondokea Kalonzo, akaanza akaform kitu inaitwa NASA na akaanza Musalia, akaanza Wetangula na wakuwa kwa hiyo maandishi. Leo ni mwifikiria wakati sisi ni wajinga. Hakuoni hesabu, anataka kumaliza mtoto wetu. Na mimi wakati nawauliza, kama yeye ataona hiyo MOU, hakuna Mkamba yote atampigia kura huyo Raila.
Well, this comes as claims abound that the Wiper leader is planning to quit the National Super Alliance even before the opposition outfit NASA picks a presidential candidate. On Spotlight 2017, our political reporter Muremi Mwangi delves into Kalonzo's past political maneuvers and interrogates what could be the genesis of fresh claims that he is on his way out of NASA.
In his vigorous dance to the 2017 political drums, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka has been a man in the spotlight, particularly in the eyes of his partners in the presidential jig within the National Super Alliance. And in the past few weeks, the son of Saikuru has had some explaining to do over widespread reports that he was planning to quit NASA.
Naysayers, kama kuna mtu atatoka NASA sio Kalonzo ni pengine nyinyi.
Like they are losing interest now.
But it is the bombshell by Kalonzo's confidant Kitui West MP Francis Nyenze that has given the latest hint yet that the rumors of a looming Kalonzo walkout from NASA may not be far-fetched after all.
Support Kalonzo for presidential flag bearer in NASA. In the absence of that, forget about NASA.
The party will continue to front Kalonzo, but in the event, as Farah Maalim and others have put it, something to the contrary happens, we're in the coalition to stay.
Sources within Wiper indicate that a deep suspicion has erupted between senior members of the Wiper National Executive Committee and a clique of top Ukambani leaders presumed to be Kalonzo's kitchen cabinet. Some observers argued that Nyenze's outburst did not come as a surprise, particularly after Kalonzo's bold address to Wiper aspirants at Bomas on Monday, in a statement seemingly aimed at his partners in NASA.
You people call me diplomatic, wate mungwana, wacha ungwana upotee niwe mshenzi.
He is going to bolt and do a solo run. You see, that's why you see he's consolidating his Ukambani base.
In 2007, Kalonzo garnered just over 800,000 presidential votes, but with a basket of lower eastern votes now at well over 2 million. Analysts argued that the Wiper leader is an asset to the opposition, and the anxiety among Kalonzo loyalists could send NASA back to the drawing board. But the statement by Nyenze could have confirmed earlier reports that talks had stalled within the NASA Management Committee over Wiper's demands for the implementation of an alleged 2013 MOU between Kalonzo, ODM leader Raila Odinga, and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula. Under the said pact, Raila was apparently supposed to pass the baton to either Kalonzo or Wetangula in 2017, a move which would knock out ANC's Musalia Mudavadi from the presidential ticket.
The debate is taking place prematurely, and the people who are driving this debate are people essentially who are not sitting in the committee where the work is being done.
Kalonzo Musyoka, the former vice president, will not be deputy to anybody. We want ODM to honor the Memorandum of Understanding of 2013.
It's like Kalonzo was duped because part of the argument is that the MOU was not registered because Orengo is asking, where is that MOU? What I know is this.
But in a fresh twist, Kalonzo's close confidant, Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. now wants the 12-member NASA committee disbanded over delayed announcement of flag bearer, leaving the task of picking the presidential candidate to the 4 NASA core principles through a boardroom consensus.
The 4 of them cannot hide behind this committee. And I can tell you this committee, the way they are going today, we will not have a solution within the time we need to have.
We are right on course, and it is our time which is best.
I want to say there has been a stalemate in the National Coordination Committee.
Kalonzo has in the past faced criticism for alleged indecision and last-minute betrayal. But the Wiper leader argues that many people have misunderstood what he calls his diplomatic demeanor, a narrative which Kalonzo captures in cinematic narration in his recently launched memoir co-written with journalist Caleb Atemi. In the book, Kalonzo narrates how President Uhuru Kenyatta and key PNU figureheads threw him under the bus after dangling the presidential carrot at him for 4 years.
At 63 years of age, why would I delay the decision to become president?
Kalonzo akisema nataka kuwa president, wanalipwa na Jubilee. Please grow up. Politics is about maturity.
With pressure mounting from his backyard to go for nothing short of the country's top seat, Kalonzo Musyoka, it would appear, faces an enormous task to convince the NASA fraternity that he is best suited as the opposition presidential candidate. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News, in Nairobi.
You're watching News Desk here on KTN News. Let's bring you some breaking news. President Uhuru Kenyatta has today reorganized government by reassigning principal secretaries from various state departments. 12 of them have been affected. I'll quickly run you through those affected, beginning with Mika Pawon, who has been PS Correctional Services. He has now been moved to devolution. Ambassador Peter Kaberia has been in the Ministry of Defense. He's now been reassigned to Sports Development. PS Mwanamaka Mabruki, who has been in devolution, is now Principal Secretary Gender Affairs. Zainab Hussein, who's been with Gender Affairs, has now been moved to Irrigation. Nicholas Muraguri, who has been the Principal Secretary Health, is now Principal Secretary the Ministry of Lands. Julius, I beg your pardon, Career, Industry and Enterprise is where he has been, as well as Development. He's the new PS in the Ministry of Health. Patrick Ndwati Mwangi has been with Irrigation. His new docket, Industry and Enterprise Development. Mariam El-Mawi has been PS Lands. She is now PS Public Works. Saitoti Torome, who has been Planning and Statistics PS, is now in the Defense Ministry. Also affected, Wilson Irungu Nyakera has been with the Transport Ministry. New orders and directives to be reporting in the Planning and Statistics Department, State Department, if you like. And then there's Dr. Paul Maringa Mwangi, who has been with Public Works. He's now been moved to the Ministry of Transport. And the final change is Ambassador Richard Ekai. Sports Development is where he's been serving, but now from today, henceforth, he's with Correctional Services. So 12 changes there, principal secretaries being reassigned in various state departments. That is news coming into us here on News Desk. You're watching News Desk. Thank you for staying with us. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have more news for you. Please stay.